Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Hope all is well. This is episode 2 of the 2020 Boating Log video series. This episode covers from mid-August to mid-September. A few more disclaimers. So for this episode, the visuals do a better job at telling the story. So hopefully I'm going to be doing a little less talking. I'm going to try to throw in a few more maps to give a little bit of context as to where we are. So you'll see Ma Bell pop up on the map a few times. Yeah, that's me. YouTube copyrights, it's just so much easier. Where we left off in the last episode, we were on the side of the highway and slowly making our way up north. We did make it to Dover Point. Then after that, we made it to the storage unit. Now, I don't have too many pictures of this place, so I'm just going to poorly add a color curve to it, and we're going to pretend it is the summer. I kept the boat at Winkley Pond Storage. These folks are great. It was a nice little spot. It was close to campus, close to my apartment. It was kind of in the wrong direction from where I would normally take the boat out, but nonetheless, it was the closest storage unit with an available space. And yeah, it was a nice little temporary home. Now, it took about a full week from when I moved the boat up there to actually get out on the water. Here we're launching from Adams Point. This became pretty much my go-to ramp if I was trying to get out on the bay. Here's a wider map to give some reference as to where we are. Here's what Navionics has to say about it. I use both the web viewer and the Navionics app to kind of plan my route, so you'll be seeing some clips from there. From Adams Point, we take a left-hand turn, and we are headed, I guess it'd be downriver Now this trip here, this was kind of my first journey out into the bay here, so I definitely took things slow. I frequently checked my Navionics app, and I had my chart plotter running, and it was good to have kind of those two references. But even with that, I definitely went slow through here. I was kind of being cautious, which I think was a good thing. Here we're making our way around Fox Point. Here we're approaching the old General Sullivan Bridge is the one you can see. But those are the Route 16 bridges, the Spalding Turnpike Bridge. In this stretch right here, you can see the water is moving along quite quickly. I don't know if the video does it any justice, but this stretch here under the bridges here, I'm not sure exactly on the statistics, but it is one of the fastest moving currents in the continental U.S. So that's interesting. On average, I see it between 3 and 4 mile an hour sustained current, but I've seen on the Navionics app that it's been up to 5 or 6.
Okay. Finally out on the boat. Well, last Friday I dragged it up here. Stayed the weekend. Didn't take it out because of weather and other things. Went home Monday, Tuesday. Back Wednesday, was supposed to go out during the day today. It was way too windy. Around 5 o'clock, I checked the weather again. The wind died off, kinda. So the tide was right, and I had about 2 hours until high, and I made it. I made it out here.
But, you know, motor doesn't sound as strong as usual. Still, the temp's way too high. I don't know if the thermostat's gonna fix it. What else? It's Wednesday. I got a few more days of screwing around with the boat, and then school starts up. So that'll be fun. School. This like uncharted, unknown. It's so strange. Had my COVID test today. Had to show up at 10:30. Went down to the back entrance of the arena, walked right in. It was organized. I felt like they knew what they were doing. I felt like it was well planned out. They had staff there that were assisting, and just a strange environment to return to. Yeah. Look at that sunset. Look at that. Now the next day I went out. I woke up early and I got out maybe 2 or 3 hours before high tide, so I knew I had plenty of water to kind of explore some of these skinnier areas. Now that last video is up here in Newmarket. We're pretty much in the center of Newmarket. This is the farthest you can travel. This is pretty much right at the dam. Now, also from this day, I have a picture here of the 95 bridge. So that must have meant we made it to Portsmouth. Here's the Navionics for that trip. From Adams Point, it was a 12.7 mile one way. And you can see that took about 30 minutes if I was doing 25 mile an hour. So I guess at the end of the day, right, if we call that 13 miles, multiply by 226, plus the trip to Newmarket, which would be another, I don't know, 5 miles. Yeah, we're probably looking at 30, 35, 40 miles that day, which was, yeah. Right, that Saturday rolls around, and yeah, it's time to go out on the water, and sure enough, got all the way to the water. Jules was there, expecting a boat ride, and yeah, that didn't happen. Nonetheless, back to the water. It was way too nice of a day to, sit around the house and look at parts on the internet. So, yeah, that's why there's a kicker motor, right? So this is the Lamprey River above the dam. There's a dam pretty much in the center of town that separates the tidal saltwater stretch of the Lamprey River from the upper freshwater. Now the kicker motor, it either fires exactly on the first pull or you're there for a little bit. Before any of my big repairs, I usually try to walk through the repair before I actually go to do it, so I can, put my tools together, assemble a parts list that I need, rent any tools that I don't have. And I usually take to a whiteboard. I think it's an easy medium for me to be able to kind of walk myself through these repairs. It's just a good way to visualize it before you start pulling stuff apart.
Cover here that had the 3 bolts and the water pump coming out of it, right? And then it kind of went like that, and there's bolts all around this thing.
At this point, what I thought was wrong with the engine was the classic 470 oil seal repair. I've done this once before, but I kind of did it half wrong. I didn't install sleeves over the shaft, so my theory at this point was that that was the issue, and oil worked its way past both of those seals into my coolant. Okay, we're out on the boat. I'm going to start the oil seal replacement. Rented a puller from Advanced Auto. Hopefully it'll work. I have a puller that I built for when I did the gimbal bearing, and I also built a little plate that'll work for this, but that's at home. I don't have that with me, so yeah. I was gonna try to flush the coolant system, but I don't have a hose. But I don't know. I think I'm gonna pull that water pump cover off because I gotta take the alternator off anyway. It's kind of a pain. So yeah, the seals should be in by this afternoon at Napa, and then hopefully I'll be able to put those in. So we'll see. This right here, yeah, this whole procedure right here, trying to use the wrong tool to get the harmonic balancer off, yeah, tacked on like another 4 or 5 hours onto my job. Advanced Auto didn't have the right puller, and they only had, one of these claw things, and they're just terrible. They're really not that good. That's what the timing cover looks like removed. There's the 2 seals that came out of it, and they look deformed because of the way I got them out. Here's that shaft that I was talking about. You can see the grooves worn in from the old seals. And what I think happened is that the newer seals that I put in a year or 2 back just couldn't retain the oil because of the worn shaft. So the solution to this is to press on a Speedy sleeve. Now, I never heard of these things, but it's a common fix for this repair. And basically, it's a sleeve, a very thin sleeve that's about the same diameter as the shaft, and it slips over the shaft. You have to pound it in with a hammer, and there's a setting tool that comes with the sleeves, right? And you pound it over the shaft, and it creates a new smooth surface for the seals to ride on. And it doesn't affect the inside diameter of the oil seal. It just kind of gives it a new surface for the seals to ride on. Here's throwing things back together. Here's putting the thermostat back together, probably like 2 or 3 times because I did it wrong. Now, progress is a little hindered here because I'm like maybe 1/4 paying attention to the engine and 3/4 paying attention to Zoom University on my phone. I had a surprise extra lecture that afternoon that I kind of forgot about. Kyle showed up and offered some comedic support. Threw some coolant back in it and went for a test run. Again, not too much video. I was staring at the gauges too much. This is Bow Lake. This is kind of our backup for when the tide didn't work out over at Adams Point. This is maybe 20 minutes from where I live. It's a nice little lake. I think it's right around 300, maybe 400 acres. So I met up with Matt and James, and we launched from Adams Point. We got an early start that day, and we were headed to Portsmouth. Now here we're right at the mouth of Portsmouth Harbor, and we're making our way out. Right after this video was taken, my buddy Matt here is sitting passenger seat, and we came up on a wave and we slapped down kind of the wrong way, and he sat right through the passenger seat there. Now, not his fault. I put in a not so good quality board in there, but it was all I had in the width, and we laughed about that for a good little bit. We took that as a note to turn around. So here we're cruising back into Portsmouth Harbor. You can see Pepperell Cove is on the right, and the naval prison is in the distance on the left. The naval prison, considered Alcatraz of the East, was built between 1905 and 1908, set on an island with tidal currents to deter escapees. Lieutenant Commander Thomas Osborne assumed command in 1917, called quote, the father of naval corrections. Osborne and two others went undercover in the prison to see what changes needed to be made. The prison reached max occupancy of 3,088 inmates in 1945.
Look at this.
Now here, this is probably the world's shakiest trip up the Lamprey River. I just had the camera settings wrong. There are many more trips in later episodes up this river, so this won't be the first time you're seeing this, and this is definitely not the best look. I always really enjoyed cruising into Newmarket here. Probably the first time I did this trek was 2 or 3 years ago on a canoe. Here you can see the dam that separates the tidal section of the river. Now, later in that day, eventually Joe and Casey woke up and joined me at the ramp. Casey was crushing a Nesquik that day. Here's what the retrieval from the Adams Point ramp would look like. In the next video, we find some time in between classes and homework. And we head up the Squamscott.